games under their belt in one of those two categories, and now getting to flip the script and see what this team looks like in the other context. It's around 60 degrees right now at SeatGeek Stadium. Got some wind gusts of around 15 miles an hour. It was really whipping the other day, causing some training to be rescheduled in Chicago up to 40 to 50 miles an hour, which is certainly detrimental to playing this sport, because can you imagine that ball in the air right now, where it would be going if it was whipping at twice or three times that speed right now. Luckily that is not the case right now, but you can still see it flapping against their jerseys, so it could even be much worse than this. But even with a little wind, you got to adapt and adjust to the environment. So that's what these two teams will do. Chicago Fire 2 last Sunday went down all the way to Florida, lost 2-1 against Orlando City B. A game that was pretty tight throughout. Right now, Mike Matkovich is just trying to get that sample size of this young team, this young roster this season. Talking to him, he was just mentioning how young this group is, looking for their identity inside the model. Of course, you have a brand that you want to play, the brand that needs to coincide with what the MLS team is playing, but within every style of football, it adapts and changes depending on your personnel. So they're trying to learn exactly what does it look like with their regulars. Of course, today it's a little bit of a exception to that question, just because they do have some first-teamers here. So once again, you have to recalibrate exactly what you can anticipate from your team's execution. Victor Radojevic, Christopher Cups, Dylan Borso, Sergio Orahel, Puso Titejan, Jason Shukaluk, all guys, along with David Pareba, who are part of that first team and can, of course, add more experience. They've got that proven track record and talent. But at the end of the day, talking about that Orlando City B game, it was an even affair, and Mike Matkovich didn't shy away from the fact that both teams had chances, and he said it. We squandered ours, and they took advantage of theirs. There are a couple of close calls where Chicago could have taken the lead, or in theory could have at least come away with a point, but they were not able to be as sharp as they needed to be. But you take those learning lessons early on in the season, and you hope you get them out of the way, and then you can remember those moments and then apply them to future matches such as today and just be that little bit better. It's way more concerning when you as a team are not creating anything and you're entirely playing reactive, and I don't think you could say that was the case in that match. For Chattanooga, they were able to get their first win of the season last time out, game number 2, playing against CT United, another independent club. And we'll put a pin on that thought for a moment, as here's Shukaluk. Shukaluk fires, and it's rolled wide. And that's the man that Chicago will be looking for. And Chattanooga will be looking to keep tabs on all game. The reigning Golden Boot in MLS Next Pro, Jason Shukaluk. As you would imagine, after having a Golden Boot season, you're gonna spend some time with the first team. It is a hot commodity, goal scorers. You can be so good at the game and practice so much, and there is just an element, there's an edge that guys who can put it into the back of the net just have, and it's rare. It's something that some would argue you can't really teach. There's certainly things you can practice to be good at finishing, but there is an instinct and there is a poise that comes with being able to bag goals at a professional level. It is hard to score goals, and you do not want to let someone who can do it slip by you. Speaking of slipping, here's Detejan. They'll square it up top. Wind-up effort! Off target. It's great work cutting inside by Puso Detejan. And he puts it on a platter for Trip Fleming to fire. Ultimately nothing for Eldin Jakupovic to do there, but promising build-up from the home team. Chattanooga trying to avoid going down early once again. They actually conceded first in their victory over CT United, a 21st minute goal. They end up winning that game 4-2 though, scoring just moments later to level the score sheet once again. And I think anytime you can do that in a match really boosts your confidence. The interim man in charge, Richard Dixon, former player on the team, mentioned you just want little improvements with each game. It's a long season, so you just want to keep stacking performance upon performance. And he thought in that game, it was all about the execution. So in a way, you could look at where these two teams are at and what happened in their previous game, and the big difference is in the big moments, Chattanooga were able to make the plays they needed to make, whether it was a defensive intervention, a save, or when they had the chance to score, they put it into the back of the net. Richard Dixon said when you concede early, you could very easily throw up your hands and go, all right, here we go again, this isn't good. But the guys stuck through and were able to find a very quick answer, and they didn't look back once they were able to put a couple more in. 3 goals in the first half of action to make it 3-1 before the halftime break. That's a way to turn the script. On the ball right now is Jack Sandmeyer, one of the quote-unquote older guys on this 2-team roster at 23 years old. You've got your academy players and you've got your college graduates. He falls into the latter as Shukaluk pushes forward. They'll have a second chance to push. Detejan plays it behind him. Now on the ball is Orahel. Fleming once again. Didn't like anything going forward. And try to see if they can pull Chattanooga apart a little bit here. Here comes a cross, headed towards goal! And he's gone and opened his account in 2026. Jason Shukaluk. It's so routine. And he nods it so nicely off a well-placed service. $20 goals in 2025. Now he has 1 in his first appearance of the 2026 season in MLS Next Pro. "23 years old from Erie, PA. And boy, is he just a weapon. I've already said it on the broadcast. Players who could score are valuable. Made it look so simple there. just like that, the home side have the early advantage in this game. Once again, Chattanooga in a trailing position. There's been a lot of goals scored here in this building and a lot of goal-scoring players, two of which are on the field right now for Chicago Fire 2. David Pareba with 18 goals in 2024. Shukaluk last year with 20, so there's one thing that this Chicago Fire program can do. It's find guys who can thrive at this level, on the offensive end at least. They were looking forward to coming home. Mike Makovich telling me that they were ready to bounce back after that tough result on the road. And of course, they're always excited to play at the home stadium. This place you're comfortable, what you're used to, and you can get family to come out easier to cheer you on. And also, you get the luxury of dipping into those first teamers more frequently just because, well, they're nearby. When you go on the road, it's much more difficult to do that unless, of course, your matchup coincides with an MLS matchup happening the day prior or the day after. Passing that one back was Dylan Borso, who had the cross on the goal, so he'll pick up his first assist of the season. Borso recently making his debut at the MLS level, proving he's not going to put himself above playing at the next pro level. Of course, you don't know how much of a choice he has, but he's going to give it his good effort. It's important to make use of the minutes that are given to you, regardless of level. Can't turn your nose up at anything. And that's something you gotta make sure you maintain as a mentality as you move up the ranks. Good effort there from Ditejan. Pareba strolling forward. Taps it out wide to Neek. Fleming had to slide in there to maintain possession for the home side. They've had all the ball here thus far, Chicago. That's a lovely move. Neek taps it back out. Chance for a service. Here it comes. There's way too much juice on that cross, and it'll roll out harmlessly. A chance to chat with center back Farid Sarsar for Chattanooga, and this was the Chattanooga team last year that were so stout defensively, and so far that hasn't been the pattern, but of course just 2 games in, so not exactly a ton to go off of, but they've conceded 6 goals in 2 games, which you do not want to be at a 3 goals conceded per match clip. He was telling me that it's just about building up that chemistry. It's so important on the defensive side that everybody's on the same page as this one's lifted in, headed towards goal. And well escorted there by Farid Sarsar after Shukaluk was fishing for a second. There's our first booking of the game. Head official Atahan Yaya throwing out the yellow card. We were just talking about Farid Sarsar, and it looks like, oh no, hold on. I think that's Tate Robertson getting that yellow card there. He's the one who initiated the contact. So it'll be number 3, Tate Robertson, with his second yellow card of the season. And a free kick just outside the penalty area. Chicago have been the ones doing all of the attacking so far. 16 minutes in, and now they have a set piece opportunity. Borso and Radojevic, the ones behind the dead ball. Radojevic with the service, and it takes a glance out. So now we'll have another corner kick, or another set piece, this time from a corner kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Carvana. Victor Radojevic making his MLS debut last night. This is now his MLS Next Pro debut here this afternoon. And swinger, a little too much height on it. Pretty busy weekend for Victor Radojevic. MLS and then MLS Next Pro on the same weekend. Of course, only played a minute yesterday, so it's not like he wore himself out against DC United, but chance to showcase your qualities here to the coaching staff. Just a 21-year-old left back from Serbia, so still certainly a ton of time to not only prove but improve. It's going to take time to build defensively if you're Chattanooga when it comes to building that chemistry. Farid Sarsar told me, look, I mean, you're only playing 40 to 60 minutes in preseason matches because trying to get in trialists, you're looking to test different guys in different spots because, I mean, that's what preseason is for, but you don't necessarily go full 90 with the same guys in that back line until you get to the season, and so they're now trying to figure out exactly what that's going to look like, how to organize yourself, what the tendencies are of your teammates. These are all important things to what makes a team defensively stable. Hell rolls it forward. Uso Ditejan has been busy early. This time he's on the other side of the pitch from where he's occupied most of this game. Borso rolls this one up ahead, looking for Damian Nick. He'll apply some pressure. Tate Robertson doing well to shield the ball away. I'm going to see if Chattanooga can hold some possession here. And just as I say it, they once again lose it. Radojevic sliding it inside. Orahel tries to curl it but doesn't go very far. Radojevic once again tapping it back to Fleming. Chayap reading that pass, and then Once again, rolls right back into a red jersey. It's been an onslaught so far. They could be onto something here. Ball trickles through. Still generating. Outside boot shot! Just off the mark. Oh, so close to 2-0 here for Chicago Fire 2. Look at that effort. Just off the post. I think that was Pareba who let that one fly. Nearly placing that ball in an identical position that Shukuluk did earlier. It was well beyond the reach of Jakupovic. It just went too far beyond his reach. Anthony Garcia will run this one down and then, well, delegate the throw-in responsibilities. Pressure once again from Chicago Fire 2, and it pays off. Here's Neek. Good sliding challenge from Sorensen, and it looks like he prevented the corner kick. So good work from Anton Sorensen to keep it from being a dangerous set piece and instead just relinquishing possession once again. There's Alex McGrath. Tried to dish that one away unsuccessfully to a teammate, so Chicago has it once more. We've got an experienced Chattanooga team up against Chicago Fire 2, and 2 games into the season, we've seen a ton of teenage presence on the Chicago Fire 2 team. Now, today, the alignment is a little bit different. We've got some of the players who have really earned their stripes over the past few years in MLS Next Pro, getting back in the lineup from the first team. It's a little bit more proven talent, experience on this Fire 2 lineup right now than in previous fixtures so far this season. Guys who were the Dean Bolts, the Mateo Clarks, the Hugo Bergs of just a couple years ago, but now have those years under their belt. And you get a nice little blend because you have them on the pitch along with some of these guys who have less experience, and you can kind of see what success looks like as Ditejan cuts inside, lays it to his left. Squared ball across the middle. It's still in the fray. Shukuluk puts it wide. It took a deflection, though, so it'll be a corner kick. Once again, it's well worked by Chicago. Shukuluk trying to contort his body to knock in a second. Atahanyaya says, hold up. Service swung in. It'll bounce down. Ditejan put it into the mixer. When you do that, anything can happen. This portion of the match is brought to you by Wintrust. 1-0 early on in this game, and it has been a flurry from the Fire 2. Constant possession, constant pressure, and already have one goal to their name, and they're looking more and more likely to find a second as the match develops further. Right now, if you're Chattanooga, you're just trying to find something to help sway the direction of this game even a little bit. Right now, there's been no reprieve. And that was a sweeping challenge, and it will be a second yellow in this game. So that's 2 yellow cards on Chattanooga. As Anton Sorensen was flying through, doesn't get the ball, just gets a chunk of his opposition, and that's going to get you in the books. So that's Sorensen's first yellow card of the season. It's always a different experience if you're one of these MLS second teams and are playing one of the independent clubs. Mike Matkovich talking about how obviously the age of your opponent jumps up and they have more understanding. They have the gamesmanship and the physicality that increases when you're just a little bit bigger. Long ball up to Shukaluk. Keeps it in bounds. Plays it into the middle. Kept in bounds, and another teasing ball right across the mouth of goal. Cup's a little light with that pass, and an opportunity in transition, but it won't be executed. Just too much distance on that pass as it was played forward. Key thing when playing against a veteran squad, though, Mike Matkovich said, is just got to stick to your identity. And they've got a lot of players on the pitch right now who are all familiar with what the brand looks like for Chicago. Here they come. That one sprayed across, and Orahel wasn't running towards it. Seemed to be the intended target of the ball. Radojevic. Cups once again just a little bit too soft on his pass, and Chattanooga able to win the possession. Daniel Mangarov gets chopped. Chayap settles that one down, plays it back to Sarsar, who's going to put it over the top. Look at this pressure here from Alex Krell. Krell nearly dicing it through. McGrath was there to make the run. And that's really the first moment in this game Chattanooga has had to really create anything. And it's from good effort from the 23-year-old striker, bearing down and claiming a ball to be his. Early on the season, obviously, there's improvements that you can make anywhere. But interim coach Richard Dixon looking at his Chattanooga team. Two big things that he wanted to hone in on going into this game. The first is defensive organization. Wants to make sure that the guys understand how to defend and press as a unit. And that's something that's a little bit more figurative, at least in comparison, which is just how do the guys handle playing on the road, as this one's lofted over Radojevic. Offside. This portion of the match is brought to you by Hyundai. 30 minutes through, Jason Shukuluk with his first goal of the season in MLS Next Pro Play after a 20-goal campaign last year. Came close to making it a brace on the evening, but wasn't to be. Chattanooga having been home all of the season so far and all of preseason, so going into a hostile environment, that's travel days into a match day. New experience for the group this year. Of course, they've got guys who have done away days before, but you got to start from zero in many facets every single season, especially when you're on a new team, a new roster. Even when you're a returning player, because obviously every year you've got a different assembly of guys, and the camaraderie and the chemistry resets, and you have to figure it out once again. I like the idea there, but certainly too much force on that pass to Pareba. Alex McGrath dipping in real deep here to try to help with possession. That'll be a long ball up for Krell. This will be settled down, and bounce will be maintained. Damian Neek duking it out with Isaiah Jones. Neek still going. Decision will be corner kick. Went one-on-one with Yves Chayap there and was able to earn the deflection. See the whipping winds from the corner flag. Certainly messing with these deliveries. Really have to put some pace on it, and we'll have another go as Damian Neek, who won the corner kick, took that corner kick and will now have a second take. Getting up to 20 to 30 mile per hour winds now. It's a wind advisory in Illinois. So mentioned how it was pretty bad the other day, and it's picking up once again here. This one ripped inside. Headed straight up into the air. Not out of danger. And yet another corner kick. Although the wind can certainly affect your delivery on crosses, it could also be an asset when you're taking a shot, because it just adds that layer of unpredictability for the goalkeeper. Moments like this where it falls down in the box can prove beneficial for the offense. Or a hell. Sends this one inside. Not a bad service, but nobody could connect with it. has certainly been a jump in the right direction once again for Chicago Fire, too. Of course, it's going to happen when you throw in some of these guys into the starting lineup, but the improvement in possession has been acknowledged by Coach Matkovich. Game 1 into 2, and it's certainly looking that way game 2 into 3, which is that they didn't have great numbers possession-wise in that first match, and they improved it in the game against Orlando. This one sent forward. Sarsar does really well to shield off Ditejan there. Allows Jakupovic to step in. Now Orahel chops it to his left, and a sliding effort from Chiap will knock it away. McGrath talking to our head official. Very emphatic in his responses to Alex McGrath, making his 100th appearance today for Chattanooga FC. And that's with missing most of last season. Just came back last game, and here in his 3rd year at the program, finally hitting triple digits. A leader on this team, and a guy that they are very happy to have back in the fray. Viktor Radojevic lost the ball in, and it's headed up over top. And we'll once again have a corner kick for Chicago Fire too. Radojevic will provide the service from the right-hand side. They've been knocking on the door the entire game, trying to find a second. Once again, it pings up in the air, and they'll reset for another corner. Just had a 3-corner sequence moments ago, and now they've got back-to-back corners here. This one dips down, headed back across. Still in the mixer. Chopped up and over. Ambitious and ultimately fruitless. Aldin Jakupovic, the 41-year-old goalkeeper who has seen it all, boots this one back into play. Hoping the guys in front of him can find some promise here in the last 6 or so minutes of first half action. As right now, the only moment they've had going forward was a long ball from Farid Sarsar that was chased down by Alex Krell, and ultimately, that's a very loose description of a moment, but there could be something here. McGrath gets by the keeper, but it doesn't have enough pace on it. Cleaned up and cleared away. Not too often you get the ball by the goalie, and it's still not enough. There was a moment where the ball slipped out of possession and Chattanooga immediately attacked. Luckily for the 17-year-old goalkeeper Owen Pratt, he had Jack Sandmeyer there following the action and ready to sweep in. But here we go again. Mangarov swerving in. Mangarov shoots, and it's off target. Suddenly 2 chances in a row for Chattanooga. Over 40 minutes, They have been suffering in this game, but it is only 1-0. This is a quality that Farid Sarsar was telling me about with this group this season. He was talking about how athletic and intense this group is, and he really thinks that they're going to be able to do some damage in transition moments. Got some pretty flexible players as well positionally, and he just thinks in counterattack situations they could be punishing, and 2 giveaways there consecutively from Chicago resulted in the 2 biggest chances of the game for the visitors. Ball lopped in, will be chested down to Jakupovic. Approaching halftime here, 1-0 your scoreline. Once we hit halftime, of course, we won't have live soccer to show you, but we do have some great content coming your way, so be sure to keep the program rolling, including some Chicago Fire-oriented entertainment. So if you're from that camp, or really a camp of television drama as well, in particular Ted Lasso, then I think there's going to be some interesting storylines for you to take a peek at. There's Daniel Mangarov. This one back to Sarsar. Chayap keeps it in bounds. Rolls it back into the middle. Going back and forth between Chayap and Robertson. Radojevic trying to shield this one and somehow invent possession, and he does well. Getting the deflection off of Chayap. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he used the rock to win possession back. Tate Robertson switches it over to the left-hand side. Sorensen, not a bad looking ball forward. Garcia with a juggle. Krell fighting for it, and it's booted away by Radojevic. Robertson, back heel roll up to Sorensen. And Chattanooga get their first corner kick of the game. So despite the way this game has developed through the majority of the action, this could be a chance for the visitors to level things up going into the break. Corner service sent in. Got flicked along, but the second contact wasn't made. Isaiah Jones will, well, looked like he was going to throw it in, but he's actually going to leave that duty for Chayap. McGrath working his way inside. McGrath tried to roll it near post. Didn't have the accuracy, and the pace was lacking a bit there as well. So after one half of action, Chicago Fire 2 dominant through the majority of the game, but have a 1-0 scoreline to show for it. I think they would have loved to have had 2 or 3 at this point with the quality chances they were conjuring. 1-0 though, your scoreline. Coming up at halftime, the rumors are true. Danny Rojas from the Ted Lasso show has been in camps. Plus, the pathway is not restricted to players, as some assistant and head coaches have made their way up the coaching tree within MLS clubs. All that and more as we start the halftime show after a short break.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Our halftime score from Bridgeview is 1-0 in favor of Chicago. There have been a number of coaches who have started with the youth to the Next Pro side and are now assistant and even head coaches in MLS. Let's meet a player who had a decision to make after his career between the lines and decided to give it back as a coach as we head to North Texas and chat with Matt Hedges.
Very excited to be here officially. I helped out a little bit last year. I really enjoyed my time working with the players, working with the staff. So I'm glad to be able to be on staff full time and be involved. Towards the end of my career, I started thinking about what I wanted to do. Post playing, and coaching was something that for a while I didn't know if I wanted to do it. When my kids started to get a little bit older and I started doing it with them, I started enjoying it, and I thought I had a lot of knowledge that I could pass down to young players. That was kind of an easy decision after thinking about it. There's lots of different things that I can teach them from my career, but also the mentality, the intensity, the winning mentality is what I want to bring to the young guys, because they're going to need that. I played at a high level college, and I was still a little bit overwhelmed when I first got here, and it's the adaptation. If you don't do it quick at that time, then you were kind of out of the system. But now I think, especially with the academy and bringing those guys up and then moving into a environment like MLS Next Pro with North Texas, then I think it's a big jump in the quality of everything that is involved with this, and I think it's huge for developing players. I think there used to be a lot of guys who kind of got pushed out of the system if it wasn't working right away, but now those guys maybe get a second chance and can develop into good players. Yeah, it feels good. It feels like home. Like you said, I've been here for a long time. I know a lot of people here. I knew John beforehand. I knew a lot of the other staff beforehand, and even some of the players I still know. So it's just nice to be back in a familiar environment and be able to give these players my knowledge. This year, I think my goal is to improve our defensive solidarity. Obviously, I want to try to improve individually the players in the defensive line, help them improve their tendencies. But as a unit, I want our group to be solid and to give up less goals. That's always the goal. And for me, that was my big thing as a player throughout my career. I always wanted to give up less goals, and I think that's something I want to pass on to these defensive players.
Welcome back to SeatGeek Stadium. Fans, it's not an act. One of your favorite Ted Lasso characters did make an appearance in a camp and can play. And we tracked him down to talk about the experience with the Chicago Fire.
Hola, hola, this is Cristo Fernandez, and we're here at the new facilities in Chicago Fire. Very happy and grateful to be here. I know I've been doing more acting and filmmaking these last couple of years. I would have never imagined how life was gonna turn for me. Never imagined that with my new dreams of film and acting, football soccer was gonna be the thing that was gonna open them for me. I say this because I've always missed football soccer. That's my first love. The level is very intense, young upcoming players, so lots of potential in this club. I can say that this is world-class level. I played professionally back home in Guadalajara. We didn't have this level of world-class facilities. I think the club is doing something great for both the city, the team, the players. It's a dream come true for anyone to be here. So for me, it's also a dream come true to be here now, and I am grateful for the opportunity. What has surprised me is the level of the team. I've seen both the first team, the second team, the players, they're doing something great. And what surprised me as well is the quality of the people, very nice people. And that also says a lot about the club, and I think that's very important. It's been really nice getting back to the field, training, and really giving my best and believing I still can play this professionally, and we'll see where the dream takes us. But it's been really nice.
Well, if the actor's that good at the sport, maybe I need to give Ted Lasso a try here. As halftime continues, let's reintroduce our newest club in 2026, CT United. Let's go give it a peek.
This is Connecticut's newest club, built for the entire state, not just one city.
Connecticut's a pretty culturally diverse state. Doesn't really have one major city. There's a bunch of small cities that are pretty close to each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage the founding partner of Connecticut Sports Group, Mr. Andre Swanston.
I remember feeling like, okay, it's on now, because talk is cheap. A lot of people say, oh, you know, I'm gonna own the team, and da-da-da. You hear that all day, everywhere. And so it kind of, you know, it was late 2023 when kind of everything went through. We knew it was approved and it was gonna happen. And it was just kind of, Michelle and I were like, all right, okay, it's on now, like, let's go.
I want to thank all of you who have made today possible and who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring these ideas to life, including the entire team from the Connecticut Sports Group.
Before the first professional match, the foundation was already in motion. In 2024, CT United launched its professional academy.
We started our academy first because we wanted to, one, make CT United tangible to the community and so they could see it, touch it, feel it, that we're here.
One of my first conversations with Andre and Michelle, when I met with them and we really started discussing, you know, their vision and what they wanted for their football team in the state of Connecticut, the ambitions, they're breaking down the barriers for giving kids opportunities to play in the academy. Once you have that idea, then I think it becomes pretty clear in terms of now bringing in the right people in your staff and to start to identify the right type of players you want to come in.
It starts in MLS Next, and it continues in MLS Next Pro.
I think we're headed in the right direction. You know, we have a good group of guys. Coaching staff is alive and ready. And I think we're just pushing towards, you know, the start of the season and looking to have a good season.
We knew that we wanted a team that was entertaining. We wanted a team that was going to dominate with the ball and against the ball. A team that looked to play forward, a team that is aggressive.
They're entertaining players, man. I mean, I'm really excited being in the league for 4 years and seeing the group that we're gathering together makes me happy.
What the ownership and the sporting director laid out to me, we had a couple of calls before I decided to join the team. It was very ambitious. I like what they have planned for the team, and I like the future, and I want to be part of this project. We have a lot of young players, so I know we're going to be very energetic. We're all here to learn to get better. And you know, when you're young, your brain is like a sponge.
So, here's the standard.
Connecticut is used to winning. We've got to show them like we're playing for real, like we're not messing around. And then also, I think with being the only black owner in the league, like I'm not losing, right? Like I refuse to make it seem like I can't build something that can compete on the level.
We welcome you back for one more halftime segment here from Bridgeview. 1-0 your scoreline after 45 minutes. Chicago Fire 2 with the lead over Chattanooga Football Club. Mark Schoenster on comms with you. This is a look at some of the scores from last weekend into yesterday. Of course, Orlando City B besting Chicago Fire 2 that day. That's one of the recent results from these two. Of course, also CT United bested by Chattanooga FC last weekend. And then just yesterday, Orlando City B stringing wins together, knocking off Carolina Core 3-2. Carolina Core is an upcoming opponent for Mike Makovich's side. They'll stay at home and play them next weekend. As we talk about next weekend, here's some of the upcoming games. Of course, Thursday, New York City FC 2 and Toronto 2 will duke it out, but Chattanooga has got Huntsville City. Of course, they also have an Open Cup game in the middle of the week, so it's a really busy time of the season for interim coach Richard Dixon and company. A lot of fun stuff coming up. We're in the thick of it now in football season. I can't wait to get all of it going to you as the year goes along, as we now take a peek at what took place in the first 45, and I expect to see a lot of highlights for Chicago Fire 2 here, because they were constantly burning and working and trying to find the back of the net. This was their one occasion where they did so, and it was the most likely of targets. Jason Shukaluk nodding it home. 20 goals last year, now has one this season. And then Pareba, who was their leading scorer the year prior with 18 goals, tried to get his first in 2026, and it just kept going. Shukaluk nearly had a brace, wasn't to be there. And then we get an opportunity for Chattanooga. This is about 40 minutes into the game, 40 minutes of suffering under the pressure from Chicago Fire 2, and then they'd have two opportunities to find the back of the net. They were unable to connect on either of them. So that leaves us where we are now. We've got one more break for you. When we come back, we have the second 45 minutes on deck. Can't wait to see you then.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Wins it!
Yeah, boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
Five more minutes on the docket here between Chattanooga FC and Chicago Fire 2. Mark Schoenster on comms with you. Appreciate you tuning in to watch on this Sunday evening. Let's see how these second 45 minutes unfold. Currently, the home side in their home debut this season, Chicago Fire 2, with the 1-0 lead and the large bulk of opportunities to score in that first half of action. Of course, things can change in a moment, especially given the fact that they are only able to capitalize on one of those chances. We've got one confirmed change. This will be for Chattanooga. Daniel Mangarov will go to the bench, and in comes Ashton Gordon. He's played a total of 60 minutes this season off the bench, and is hoping to put a good 45 in here. The loanee from Atlanta United. Certainly no stranger to the MLS Next Pro level, having played with Atlanta United too. Nice day in Bridgeview, well, at least nice temperature-wise. Around the 60-degree mark, which is great for running and playing the sport in, though it is very windy, and they've been getting gusts of 20 to 30 miles an hour, which has caused wind advisory over the past few days in Illinois, and that's going to be a little bit of a downer on the temperature, but ultimately you could still do worse. It'll be Chicago Fire 2 to get this one going in the second half, going left to right. Atahan Yaya, our head official, readies his watch. And we are ready to go. They're going to do the PSG entry and place that ball perfectly, honestly, to the byline. Can't really roll it better than that. Basically the idea of pinning in your opposition deep in their own territory and then getting to work, and lo and behold, they're able to roll it right along the boundary now. They didn't win possession back in the attacking half, but they have the ball, so even though maybe it wasn't the best case scenario, they still have possession and now can start working forward, which is something they did a lot of in the first 45 minutes. Whistle sounded after a moment for advantage to be played. Yves Chayap on the challenge, knocking over Uso Ditejan, making his MLS Next Pro debut. Midfielder from South Africa. Recently brought in to play for Chicago Fire. Several first teamers out there for Chicago Fire 2 right now. Now, unlike Ditejan, a lot of them have several seasons of experience playing at the MLS Next Pro level. We've got two of the best goal scorers over the past 2 seasons in David Pareba and Jason Shukaluk out there. Certainly a spooky prospect to defend against if you're Chattanooga. Two guys who have been there and done that. Cups taps this one back to his young goalkeeper, Owen Pratt, just 17 years old. So Owen Pratt, for about 45 minutes in the game, basically just had to pick daisies, though there were a couple of opportunities in the closing stages of the first half. He did have a ball get by him, but luckily Jack Sandmeyer was there to help him out, as any good defender would do. McGrath rolls this one back to Robertson. Tate Robertson drags this one over. Nathan Kohler, the only lineup change for Chattanooga going into the match, stepping in for Matthias Hanchard at the center back spot. Sarsar was jabbed into by Shukaluk, who was applying direct pressure to the center back. Jones taps this back to Robertson. He rips it over to the left-hand side. Garcia poked away by Dylan Borso. Dylan Borso made his MLS debut last weekend for the first team, and it wasn't like many of those debuts can be, which is a substitution in the final moments of the game where you get to play a minute or two, celebrate your moment, and then suddenly the game is done, as this one is ripped towards goal by Gordon. It's still in the box, shot towards goal, and ripped across the crossbar. The captain in his 100th match for Chattanooga FC ties the ball game. Gordon puts it into the mixer. It's bobbling around, and off the half volley, Alex McGrath scores in his second game in a row after making his return last game. Played just 4 games in 2025 before a knee injury took him out for the year. They've been so intentional and careful about his rehab process, and boy, has he come back in style. And now we're gonna stop play as we had head contact here. That was away from the collision on the play. I hope it's nothing too serious. As they're getting ready to walk the injured player off the pitch, here's another look at the goal scored. Ashton Gordon making an impact early on in the game after subbing in at halftime. And then McGrath just rip your laces through it. Was close enough that even though the shot was ever rising, it didn't matter. It dinged the frame and went down. Nothing Owen Pratt can do about that one. Still going through all of the checks as Pousa Ditejan makes his way to the sideline, and we'll see if he tries to come back into the game or if a substitution is incoming. Drop ball is given back to Chattanooga, and we're off and running again. Sorensen. Taken away from him, but it will be a corner kick as Ditejan is waved back onto the pitch. Robertson will take this. Robertson plays it in, headed towards goal. Second time that they've been able to get someone to flick that ball on. Puts it into a dangerous area. Robinson will try to launch it now from a throw-in. Robertson. Able to traverse nicely there. Now Borso will push it forward. Chattanooga certainly had more to say here in the second half to start, and obviously they have a goal to show for it as well. Rath getting onto the score sheet. Richard Dixon, who went from player for Chattanooga to performance coach to now interim head coach, has been working tirelessly with him as far as making sure they get everything right with his recovery process. Been training with the guys for a couple of weeks now without any bars or restrictions. But coming back last week was significant still, though, of course, because it was his first time back playing in a match and his first time playing in front of the fans once again. Sorensen does well to dish that one away and kill some time. But his leadership on the pitch is so vital for this Chattanooga team. And he's now helped level this game after everything seemed lopsided in favor of Chicago Fire 2 for a lot of this game. This portion of the match is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Borso cuts it back in. Shukaluk has one goal. Tried to play it into the center, and it's knocked away. Dylan Borso will throw this one in. Mentioned he got significant minutes in his MLS debut. Had to sub in the 23rd minute. Helped his team get a clean sheet and then subbed in again yesterday against DC United. So now he has 2 MLS appearances. Mike Matkovich talking about how Borso's come a long way. Made sure to text him after his debut to congratulate him and to urge him to keep on pushing. Talked about how he had some growing pains when he was working in the second team, having to convert to right back. But he stuck to it, and now that he's broken the ice with the MLS, Mike Matkovich urged that he's got to keep his head right and stay at it, because we've seen so many players make debuts and even score goals in debuts, and then you never hear from them again. So he challenged Borso to not let this be the end. He thought he played well in the game, though, and obviously, when you're a coach of a second team, you're trying to win games with your guys, and the roster can shift around, so sometimes that can be difficult. But the thing you really take pride in is when a player moves up to the first team and makes that debut and makes a difference, as Chattanooga are on the push. Well blocked on that play. Jack Sandmeyer walling off Anthony Garcia. But then at the end of the exchange, commits a foul. It'll be a free kick from that left channel area. Sandmeyer, the 18th pick in the 2026 draft for Chicago Fire. He's now started all 3 games this season in Next Pro play. So Tate Robertson will take what's essentially a short corner kick. This is a guy who can hit from some nice spots on set pieces, so wouldn't be surprised if he had a go himself. Ashton Gordon might give it a tap, and then Robertson let it rip. The go-ahead's given. Robertson sends it inside and hits side netting. So nothing doing there. So going in to halftime, shots were 12-4 in favor of Chicago Fire 2. Here in the first 13 minutes, Chattanooga with 3 shots to 0 for Chicago Fire 2, so now the margin is up to 12-7. The home side still at the edge, but the visitors have come screaming back here in the second half. Leveled the score sheet with Alex McGrath. So Ditejan, who was so dangerous in that first half of action, just cutting around the field, leaving defenders behind him. Just hasn't been the same here 15 minutes into the second 45. Lofted ball over the top. Jason Shukaluk brings it down. Shukaluk, first squared ball unsuccessful. Second one. Falls to Orahel. Back out wide to Borso. Dylan Borso, curling ball, lovely placed. And David Pareba gets his first of the season. Golden Boot winner gets the first. 2024 MLS Next Pro MVP gets the second. And another gloriously placed ball by Dylan Borso. Two assists in the game for the 19-year-old. And he's got the right idea. Look for number 20 and number 29. Chicago retake the advantage. David Pareba. Another one of those first teamers who was a juggernaut on this team 2 years ago. 18 goals, 6 assists in 2024. That's another one here. And that's an answer for Chicago after things were really swinging in favor of the visitors. And they could be at it again. Shukaluk. Back to Pareba. They'll play it out wide to Borso. Dylan Borso dribbling in. Taps it back out. Fleming trying to thread the needle there. Isaiah Jones clears it up the pitch for Krell to chase. Krell, really physical. Able to get possession for the visitors. Jones has the ball taken away from him. And now Shukaluk springs free. Ditejan. Pusa Ditejan. Shimmying. Lays it back. Squared over to Neek. He'll shoot. Diving block there from Tate Robertson. Sacrificial defending from the 28-year-old. And suddenly things have been unlocked again for the home team. Here they come again. Ditejan across the middle. It's knocked away by Nathan Kohler. This portion of the match is brought to you by Carvana. Chicago Fire 2 recently recapturing the lead thanks to their other superstar from 2 years ago, David Pareba, finding the back of the net. Both goals, though, being serviced exquisitely by Dylan Borso. Here comes the cross on the corner kick. Goes over everybody. Orahel looks to recollect. And his service doesn't go very far, but they will get another corner kick to have another crack at. Ripping service. Made some contact with Shukaluk, but he was having to track back to even make contact on that service from Viktor Radojevic. As the interim head coach, this is the first time as the man in charge for Richard Dixon on the road. Of course, he's had many a road game in his career as a player, but I asked him what he wanted to focus on and make sure that his team got right when it comes to managing a road trip. And he said, honestly, it goes for every single road game. My first goal and foremost goal is clarity. He wants to make sure the players, that they know their roles, that the coaches know their roles, to the staff, that everybody understands what's going on, what they need to be doing, and what the people around them are supposed to be doing. Because if you understand the objectives and you understand what the system is supposed to look like, whether it be on the pitch or in training or when it comes to the recovery plan, if you have clarity, then you can operate and make the proper decisions when a decision is put to your feet. Because if you don't have information, if you're uncertain, then there's going to be hesitancy and there's going to be incorrect decisions made because you don't have all of the variables. That's even more important when you're on the road, to know what the plan is. Not only what are we going to do for the 90 minutes, but also when I wake up, when is breakfast, where is breakfast, when is walkthrough, etc. All these things that are different than when you're in your home routine. Cross sent in, McGrath puts it back in the fray. Ultimately won't be dangerous. Robertson looking up ahead for Anthony Garcia, but stretches beyond his stride. Two-1 your scoreline here. Chicago got the opening goal just 10 minutes into the game. Dylan Borso assisting Jason Shukaluk. And they continued to dominate in the first half, but Chattanooga came back. Final 5 minutes of the first half, and then the next 10 to 15 minutes in the second half, found an equalizer with Alex McGrath. And then Chicago Fire 2 have once again restaked claim on control, not only in the run of play, but also by finding another goal, this time from Borso to David Pareba. Neek to the left-hand side. It's a heavy touch there from Pareba. And we're going to get our first substitution for Chicago Fire 2. MLS Next Pro debut concludes here for Viktor Radjevic. The Serbian goes to the bench, and in comes Josue Frommer, one of the young bucks who's been getting a ton of burn so far in this season up to this point. And we'll get 20 more minutes here after starting the first 2 matches of the season. So that's going to be the interesting thing as this game develops. Up to this point in the season, in the first 2 matches at least, Chicago Fire 2 were incredibly young. Tons of teenage presence, getting a lot of minutes. Obviously that comes with a lot of promise, but also a lot of inexperience. Today, that's not been the case at the lineup, with several experienced Next Pro players getting back in the roster from the first team, getting back in the lineup. But as this game goes along and these substitutions are made, each of those guys, as they make their way to the bench, are going to be replaced with someone who's a teenager or close to being a teenager. And they got to be careful going up against this veteran Chattanooga side, whom are going to recognize that's the case and try to exploit it. They would be dumb not to. And it's just going to take time for young players like that to get adapted to this level. Mike Matkovich saying that if you're a teenager playing in the Next Pro ranks, it's going to take 6 to 8 games to get a proper sample of what you can offer. Talked about just how young the second team is, and he said if we just played in the U18s with this group, they would dominate, just win so much. But they're going to take a bigger jump and play at this level, and it's going to be an adjustment. Borso running it forward. Dylan Borso. It's kept in bounds. Falls back. Settled down by Neek. And the ball is taken away from him by Isaiah Jones. They'll go again. Borso to the byline. He'll work. He's walled off by Sorensen. First clearance unsuccessful. Second one, very much so. Neek pushing for it. Still tussling for the ball. Doesn't get very far on the clearance. Or a hell. That was a mess, but Chattanooga escape. Service there from Neek, unsuccessful. And it'll go out for what looks to be another corner kick for Chicago. Trying to give themselves some cushion on the score sheet. They'll play it short. Played inside. And that's just a rough touch there from Damian Neek. And perhaps a transition opportunity for Chattanooga, but Neek knocks over Garcia and will quickly get a yellow card, but some may call that a professional foul. Keeping the transition from happening. This is one of the moments where Chattanooga could prove to be dangerous, and although seems like a lot more red jerseys are tracking back than there are blue kits running forward. Regardless, you gotta sometimes make a decision and live with it. As 2 changes are occurring for Richard Dixon. Darwin Ortiz subbing on for Nathan Kohler. And then Alex McGrath in his 100th appearance with Chattanooga FC we'll see that 100th appearance conclude. 2 games, 2 goals this season for the returning captain. He's out, Keegan Anselin is in. So adding some extra firepower to the attack to try and see if they can find an equalizer. Down a goal for the 2nd time in this game. This is one of the challenges too for Chattanooga as one of the independent clubs. We talked earlier about the challenges that an MLS 2 team has with going up against an independent club, but on the flip side, there are challenges for them because preparation can be pretty difficult because you don't really know who you're going to be playing against. Obviously, no matter who's out there, there's going to be a prevailing philosophy of a team you go up against. But take, for example, this game. Chattanooga comes in preparing for Chicago Fire 2, and then suddenly you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys who are on the MLS roster making their debuts this season for the MLS Next Pro side. And although maybe you can anticipate that it might happen because they're at home, but to this extent, I mean, who's to say? Or a hell. Tried to feed that one inside. It's dished away for a corner kick. So you got to give some credit to Chattanooga for hanging tight in the opening stages of this game after realizing the quality level of the players on the pitch they'd be up against. Damian Neek with the cross, and it couldn't be connected cleanly. And now we're going to get 2 substitutions for Chicago. And I teased this earlier, and it's happening here. Experience is being exchanged for young talent. Tejan is out, and so is David Pareba, our most recent goal scorer. And in come 2 teenagers, Robert Turdine and Vitaly Halut. This is obviously always great for youngsters to get in and play, especially against an experienced team like Chattanooga. But it does add an element of uncertainty to this game. You're hoping, if you're Chicago, that this gradual transition from old to young makes it smoother as they're playing through this match, trying to secure the 3 points. The home side will progress forward again until contact there slows it down. And there's another yellow card, this one for Isaiah Jones. Little push on the back. Talked about professional fouls earlier. There's another one there. Keeping Chicago from generating something pretty dastardly. So a free kick opportunity here for Chicago. It's a good distance from goal, but perhaps they've got someone who can craft up a nice swerving service here. And it goes. Headed away with a little bit of a hobble afterwards. I think that's Keegan Anselin who cleared it away and is now down. The moment he got a piece of it, he then was hopping. It was either him or Krell. And it actually is Alex Krell. So just take a peek at number 23. I think he just landed funny after heading the ball. Grabs his left leg. Play will continue though now. Losing the ball there is Garcia. Another foul, another free kick incoming for Chicago. Another change incoming for Chattanooga as Alex Krell will go to the bench now. And Amzian Sid Mohand will sub in. The Algerian striker looking to see if he can make a difference in this game. That one just getting away from Owen Pratt, and he's fouled. And now he's down. We're starting to pick up some knocks here in the closing stages of this game. Just get a little more sloppy as the game goes along if you're tired, and also perhaps some frustration too with some of these contacts as far as where you currently sit in the scoreline. We're gonna get two more changes as two more teenagers sub in for Chicago Fire 2. Two guys who have been starters for the first two matches, Hugo Berg and Chase Nagel. And they'll sub out Dylan Borso, Sergio Orahel Jr. Great day in the office for Dylan Borso, who's been having himself a pretty good week, I would say. 2 MLS appearances, and then come back to the MLS Next Pro crew and craft up 2 assists. Slowed down here in the last 10 or so minutes due to these subs and some of these injuries being picked up early on in the season. Players still getting into match fitness and not as used to the contact as they'll be by the time July and August rolls around, but then once you get to July and August, you'll have some players who have sustained something pretty serious of an accumulation of injuries, and then that's a war of attrition at that point. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allstate. Under 10 minutes of the 90 to go. Chattanooga once again trying to find an equalizer. Once again, you can see the wind whipping from the corner flag as this one whips inside. Cleared away, and just, well, they thought kept in bounds by Robert Turdine, but our officiating crew have the direct line sight right down that touch line, and the call was made that the ball had gone out of play. So Tate Robertson will throw it in. Scooting down this right-hand side is Halut. Losing his footing for a moment is Damian Neek. And Chattanooga will try to push a counterattack, but it fizzles quickly. Chattanooga looking to get one more offensive piece out there to try and see if they can get something. The substitution won't be made yet, but Damian Barker-John is preparing. Sorensen plays it over to Garcia. Anthony Garcia switches the point. Gordon couldn't keep his feet on the ball there. It's knocked away from him. Nagel out to the left-hand side where it's booted up the pitch. Here comes Chattanooga. The shot taken by Jones, saved by Owen Pratt. Owen Pratt leans down, blocks that one off. Loose dribble from Halut. Sid Mohand. Over to Garcia. That one takes a glance, will go out of play. Here's an opportunity again. Isaiah Jones, the 19-year-old, couldn't get it by Pratt. Damian Barker-John now subs on for Anton Sorensen, so another aggressive change for the visitors. Will it be enough, or can Chicago hang on? Halut trying to dribble by his defender, but Robertson is privy. Turn here from Barker-John. Now it's played over to the right-hand side. Garcia with the cross. Nodded away. Pressure still being applied, but Chicago able to dribble it away from danger and now have a throw-in. You can hear the cheering from the friends and family in attendance. Had to hang on here, but as the lineup out there for Chicago Fire 2 has gotten younger, they've been able to manage. And they still have Jason Shukaluk up top, should there be a moment to poach. Time ticking away for Chattanooga. Chicago Fire 2 looking for their first win of the season. Chiap. Nicely placed ball to Garcia. And that's going to be a foul against Garcia, who's getting tangled up there on the left-hand side with Frommer. Was trying to earn himself a penalty. Wasn't going to happen. Atahanyaya was on top of it. Not the best distribution off the goal kick from Pratt. That was a little too much there defensively. Robert Turdine with the push. And the yellow card is issued. Another set piece opportunity for Chattanooga. First yellow card of the season for Robert Turdine. And now a free kick chance. I mentioned earlier that Tate Robertson has a good boot on him from dead ball situations. This one's a little bit more reasonable of an angle than the previous occasion where I mentioned it. He's accompanied by Damian Barker-John. It's a good distance away still, but still an opportunity for a moment of brilliance. Owen Pratt, 17-year-old goalkeeper, but a tall goalkeeper, 6'4", so you certainly can't expect that a shot to the upper corners isn't out of his reach. He has the length to knock something away if he can get there in time. What have they got here from the dead ball? Damian Barker-John, it takes a deflection. Corner kick ensuing. And we've got 5 more minutes tacked on. 5 minutes for Chattanooga to keep pushing. 5 more minutes for Chicago Fire 2 to hang tight. A lot of grabbing happening inside the penalty area. Atahan Yaya looking to clear things up before the corner kick is taken. Ashton Gordon, the one on the service. Gordon sends it in. And another corner kick, this time from the left side. Gordon will take his place in the penalty area, and Robertson will now go out wide. Chicago Fire 2 with the 1-goal advantage. It was lopsided as far as play was concerned in the first half. It's been a bit more balanced here in the second. Ball sent inside, parried down, but not far. Walled off a couple times, still in the fray. And Chicago Fire 2 clear it. Second service, played inside. What a save by Owen Pratt. Quick reaction from the teenage goalkeeper. And what a sequence here. Several bits of heroics. A couple of defensive players stepping up. And it was a good ball from Robertson. One-timer from Damian Barker-John. Here they come. This one headed away more emphatically. 3 more minutes to go. And uh-oh, the pockets have been picked. Halut rolls it over to the right. Damian Neek. What can he do with the ball? Doesn't have to force anything. He can just kill time here. Neek now sends it in. Well done by the 20-year-old Damian Neek. Whenever you get the ball in that moment, you're going to feel that temptation to try to make something happen offensively, but he knew what the situation was. And when there wasn't an open lane for him to go towards goal, or at least it was going to be a difficult avenue, to swerve over to the corner, drain away some of those precious seconds. But now Chattanooga have the ball with 2 minutes to go. Oh, so close to tying the game. Just a couple of moments earlier. Owen Pratt with a big save at point-blank range. Keeps this one in a 2-1 scoreline, trying to preserve 3 points for Chicago. Robertson will deliver a long ball here. Couldn't be kept in bounds. Keegan Anselin was there. And with 1 minute to go, the mission for Chicago is to keep possession and let that foray be the last one Chattanooga is afforded. Shukaluk. Time ticking away. Chicago Fire 2. Their first home game of the season. They brought in the big guns. And now they're trying to see this one through. It's a foul on Anselin. He puts his hands in the air. He's stunned by the decision. And it may be the final decision that needs to be made by our head official. Except for, of course, sounding the final whistle. You expect Owen Pratt will probably just boot this one up the pitch, having done what he's needed to do. And there you have it. First home game of the season. First 3 points of the season for Chicago Fire 2. They are victorious 2-1 against Chattanooga FC. And let's take a look at our man of the match. It's the right back, Dylan Borso, from making his MLS debut last week. Played a minute yesterday, and then 2 delicious crosses to some very highlight target men, Jason Shukaluk and David Pareba. Just placed perfectly for those 2 guys to knock it home and give his team the victory. And that is where our broadcast will end here for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew. I'm Mark Schoenster. Once again, our final score is 2-1 in favor of Chicago Fire 2. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Have a good evening, everybody.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.